amici, ben ritrovati qui sul mio canale Ad Maiora. Io sono sempre Sara e oggi voglio insegnarvi qualcosa di nuovo sulla mia lingua, l'italiano. So, hi guys and welcome back to my channel Ad Maiora. I'm always Sara and today I'd like to teach you something new about my language, about the Italian language. In my previous videos we talked a lot about grammar issues, okay, verbs, tenses, and grammar stuff. Today I'd like to do something different and share with you phrases, sentences, vocabulary that could be useful in everyday life. When we travel, when we go abroad, one of the first things we need to do is to go out and get something to eat. So today the topic of my video lesson is al ristorante. What does it mean? At the restaurant. At the restaurant. So phrases, dialogues and vocabulary concerning a situation, a possible, a realistic situation when you are at a restaurant. Al ristorante. Of course, the ristorante is not the only option when you go out and want to eat something. You may go to the pub. We have pubs, okay, in Italy as well. We call them pubs. And we have bars, and we call them bars. Well, we don't use the S for the plural. We say bar in general. There are, you can go, for example, to a pizzeria to get a pizza. Okay, this is absolutely very common. The restaurant is a more formal situation, so this is why I chose this one, because it gives you a variety of information. Probably it is more complete than a simple dialogue you can have at a bar or at a pub or whatever. There are also some other circumstances in which you can go and eat something in a place that is not it is similar to a ristorante, but it's really not. It is called, I write it here, osteria, or eventually trattoria. The pronunciation here is a little bit more difficult for non-native speakers. What is osteria or a trattoria? The pronunciation is difficult because you have two R sounds, and we know that the sound is quite strong in Italian, tr, tr, and you have a double T here, so the consonant is longer, so trattoria. They are almost the same. Well, Italian people could say it's not really the same, but anyway, they are a very typical, we could call them taverns in English. So an osteria or a trattoria is a tavern or an inn, eventually, if you prefer. They are normally quite typical, informal. You eat typical food, okay, from the area, from the place. Sometimes they're a little rustic, okay, or folkloristic sometimes. So osteria even more than trattoria. So they are less formal than a ristorante. Ristorante is a place when you have a full meal, and it is you have a lot of choices, and it is more formal. So these are a little bit different, but you can find these alternatives too. Then you have pizzeria, bar, pub, and whatever you want. Now, let's start with the formal we can say a formal situation, okay? I have imagined a dialogue between a cliente and cameriere. Cliente is the customer. Pay attention to the word cliente because it's not really the same as client in English. They're different words. They mean different things. The cliente is a customer or eventually a guest, okay? And cameriere, the cameriere is the waiter, okay? Cameriere or cameriera if she's a woman, okay? Cameriere is a man, cameriera is a waitress, so it's a woman basically. Again, I don't need to say that probably, but I find it a lot when foreign people try to write dialogues and they have to call the waiter, and they say cameriere, calling him by using this word here. Well, that is not polite. I mean, in every language, you never call someone cameriere or cameriera. That's absolutely impolite, very rude. So you have to call them. You call them just mi scusi, okay, excuse me, per favore, or eventually you call them signore, signorina, but you don't call them cameriere. Pay attention. Then let's start from the very beginning. You arrive, okay, restaurant. You obviously say buongiorno, buonasera. It depends obviously of the time of the day. And the first thing you say is, I have given here two choices depending on the fact that you're alone, or as it happens most of the times, you are with other people. So this first possibility is a first person singular, and the other possibility is a first person plural, because most of the times you're not alone. Vorrei, okay, this is first person singular, or vorremmo, first person plural, un tavolo per 2 persone, 3 persone, 4 persone, una persona. Quindi, buongiorno, vorrei un tavolo per 2 persone, per favore. So, hello, okay, good morning. I would like to have a table, okay, for 2 people, for example. Okay, obviously here on the dots you could put your number, okay, the number of people you are. Mi scusi, vorrei un tavolo per 3 persone. Mi scusi, vorremmo un tavolo per 5 persone. Okay, this is quite typical. You arrive and you ask for a place. Okay. The waiter or waitress or the owner of the place can ask you back, or avete prenotato? It means, do you have a reservation? This is very, 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 very common, especially if the place is quite, I don't know, it's well known or quite fashionable. Also, in this case, you have 2 alternatives and another alternative in brackets. Why? The first alternative, and you will find it for every single line, okay, said by the cameriere, the waiter. The first alternative is when you use the formal verb, okay? It's a courtesy form, okay? And we know that in the formal, when we use a formal verb, we use the third person singular in Italian. The second one, after the slash here, is a second person plural. The second person plural is great because when I talk to many people, I can use it, and it is good for formal or informal situations. You have no problems. It's the same, okay? So the first one is when you want to be formal, talking to one person, and you use the third person singular. The second one is when you want to be either formal or informal and you're talking to many people. The other form in brackets is the second person singular that you use when you are informal, talking to just one person. This is not so common in a situation like this, a ristorante, but eventually if you're in a pub, okay, you're very young maybe, or the waiter is young, or the general atmosphere of the place is very informal, or they already know you for some reasons, then they will just use, okay, the second person singular. Okay, this is why I specified the 3 forms. Okay, so formal tense, okay, formal tense, formal verb for formal person when you're talking to one person, formal or informal when you're talking to many people, and informal when you're talking to just one person. So this is the less common one. This is why it is in brackets. Anyway, the sentence ha prenotato, talking to one person, okay, formal. Avete prenotato? talking to the group of people or the couple eventually. If I want to be very informal, I ask, hai prenotato? Maybe the person is very young. Okay, I can say that. Not so common, but possible. So, do you have a reservation, basically? The verb prenotare means to book something, basically, and we use it also in this case. They may ask it, sometimes they don't, maybe in a restaurant they would, but in a pub, in a bar, or most of the time in a trattoria they won't ask you that, and they just show you the place where you can sit. And so they say, si accomodi, so please have place. Accomodatevi, this is when talking to many people. First one, formal, talking to one people. Second, again, it's the same. Informal or formal, talking to many people. And the other one, accomodati. Informal, talking to one people. Again, I gave you the three possibilities, the same as before, absolutely the same as before. But I just gave you the three possible ways to use this verb. Accomodarsi, which means have place, okay? Have a seat. Si accomodi, accomodatevi or accomodati. Now, most of the times you don't need to ask the waiter to give you a menu, okay? You don't need that. They do it automatically. But I use the sentence in case the restaurant is very, I don't know, crowded and they forgot you somehow, and so you can ask, posso avere un menù, per favore? Posso avere un menù, per favore? May I have a menu, please? And this gave me the chance to talk about menus. First of all, menu is a strange word with an accent on the final U, okay? So pay attention to the pronunciation. It's not menu or menu, it's menu, menu, menu with the accent on the U. Talking about menu. How can we structure a full meal in Italy? Now I'm talking just about a full meal. Of course I can have a pizza and that's enough, or I can have just one course and don't eat all of them. But a full meal is structured this way. First of all, and this you'll find this these groups of dishes on your menu. First of all, antipasti, okay, the appetizers, okay, small portions of something that is meant for you to be prepared, okay, to the real meal, okay. So the appetizers, basically, antipasti, anti because they come before pasti, the meal. Antipasti, the singular is antipasto. Second group of dishes, okay, primi piatti. Literally it means first dishes. Primi piatti, they are the first course basically, and it is everything concerning pasta, for example, or rice. We have a lot of very typical dishes with rice. They're called risotto. They're typical from Lombardia, Milan, but actually they're widespread and you can find them all over the country. So everything concerning pasta, everything concerning rice, soups, okay, any kind of soups. What else? Okay, I can say that these are primi piatti in general. Also, you eat that a lot. Le lasagne are primo piatto. Okay, are primo piatto. You eat it at the beginning because it is pasta. Okay, it is just another shape, but it is pasta. And lasagne are not just lasagna alla bolognese, even if you know them. And you use and you eat. them a lot abroad, but there are many other kinds of lasagna, okay, with vegetables, with mushrooms, with okay, so many other things, okay, not just with the meat. So these are primi piatti, plural, one primo piatto. Second group, okay, secondi piatti, it means second dishes, literally, so the second course. In English we would call it main course, okay? It is everything concerning meat, concerning fish, or typical or variations, okay, of primi piatti. Sometimes they can become a secondo piatto with some variation in the recipe, and typical dishes like, I don't know, polenta e funghi, the mushrooms with polenta, which is quite typical from our area. Okay, all these dishes quite particular and typical of an area are probably secondi piatti. But anyway, it is everything concerning meat, everything concerning fish. Most of the times, always, I could say, always, we eat together with secondo piatto, we eat contorni. Contorni means that something that you have together with secondo piatto. It could be vegetables, most of the times, potatoes, or I don't know, salad, garnishments, and so on, okay? These are contorni. Sometimes they are included in the main course, some other times they are not. Sometimes they are, but you still have another group of dishes in the menu with this definition here, contorni, and you can take another, okay, and so you can have more than one contorno together with your main course. Finally, there are dolci. Dolci or dessert. This is the pronunciation for this word here that we use in Italy, and it is very different because in English we say dessert. And so this is the same word, but it's not so international, because if you just hear this word you may not recognize it because the pronunciation is really difficult, it's quite French. So dessert, or dolci, so literally it means sweets, okay? Normally they are included in the menu, sometimes they are not, and there is a specific menu for desserts, for dessert, as it happens with the wines. Sometimes, not always, in very formal restaurants especially, you can have a specific menu for desserts and specific menu for wines. And I want to tell something here, because that really bothers me. I'm kidding, it doesn't bother me, but in so many movies and in so many TV shows, or I don't know, programs abroad, I see that they translate the typical wine that you may ask for in a restaurant, or especially osteria or trattoria, they always have it. So this is typical for that place. They call it vino de casa. This is not correct, this is not Italian. I don't know why it is used. I really don't know that. Is it Spanish, I think? But this is not Spanish, this is Italian. So the right way to say that is vino della casa. Vino della casa. Literally, it means wine of the home, of the house. Well, we can translate both ways, literally. So it means that it is the typical wine of that place. Maybe they produce it, or they don't produce it personally, but they know those who produce it, and so they have this wine that most of the times is not in a bottle, but they just pour it, and so this is quite typical. Most of the times they are amazing, and so make sure to remember this expression correctly. We understand anyway, it's no problem, but anyway, that's it. So this is the structure of a full meal. Again, if you go to a pizzeria, you just eat a pizza, okay? All pizza. It doesn't exist in Italy that you just eat a slice of pizza. No, you have to eat a whole pizza. If you have problems eating a whole pizza because it is too much, then probably the problem is that it isn't cooked in the best way, because it doesn't have to be very greasy or too thick or whatever. You are normally, you have no problems eating a whole pizza if it is well done. Now, you have read your menu. Of course, there are a lot of vocabulary here, but I don't have time in just one lesson to say all of this, and also specific vocabulary about food. It's not interesting, it's not important, because you can find them everywhere, and even on your vocabulary or app or whatever, Google Translator, whatever, so you can translate vocabulary names, the name of the food everywhere. What is more difficult for you is to actually put that name into a dialogue. So this is not so interesting to have specific words now, but it's more interesting to have a whole dialogue, phrases, etc., etc. So you have read your menu, you have translated everything, you have chosen what you want to eat, and so you call the waiter without using the word waiter. You just say, "Excuse me, mi scusi, posso ordinare? May I order?" Or if I use the first person plural, "Scusi, possiamo ordinare?" Possiamo, the group or the two people. Posso ordinare if I'm talking about myself. So may I order, or may we order? And the waiter, most of the times you don't have to call the waiter to order, but they just arrive and ask if you're ready. And so in this case, this is the sentence they will say, probably. Desidera ordinare? Desidera ordinare? Formal, talking to one person. Desiderate ordinare? Formal or informal, talking to people, number of people. Informal one, desideri ordinare? Again, the three forms as it was before. So, desidera ordinare, if I'm talking to one person, I want to be very formal. Desiderate ordinare? Okay, if I'm talking to many people. Desideri ordinare? Vuoi ordinare? Because it is more informal, talking to one person, sorry. Most of the times you may just hear them say, è pronto? Are you ready? Obviously they mean, are you ready to order? Siete pronti? Are you ready? Talking to many people. Sei pronto? Are you ready? Talking in an informal way. So, è pronto, formal way, talking to one person. Siete pronti, talking to many people, formal or informal. Sei pronto, talking to one single person, in an informal way. Why did I put here these vowels? Pronto, pronta, pronti. Because you have to remember that the adjective changes in Italian depending on the person we are referring to. So if I'm talking to a man, I'd say sei pronto. If I'm talking to a woman, or è pronto. If I'm talking to a woman, I'd say è pronta. If I'm talking to many people, okay, women and men, I'd say siete pronti. Siete pronti. There is another chance if you're talking to many people and they are just women, you can say siete pronte. But it's less common, okay? So you choose the verb here, è, formal, one person. Siete, formal, informal, many people. Sei, informal, one person. And you have to check also the right form of the adjective, okay? Pronto for a man, pronta for a woman, pronti for a group, pronte for a group of women. And you can finally order, ok? Vorrei prendere, I would like to take, to have. And if you have just one thing, you just say that. But if you have many different, if you have selected many different dishes, okay, one primo piatto, secondo piatto, etc., etc., you may just say like that. Vorrei prendere una pasta alla carbonara, for example, come primo, as primo piatto. Una bistecca ai ferri come secondo, as second, ok, as main course, as secondo piatto. Patate fritte come contorno, ok? So you just put come, which means as in this case, and you just say if it is primo. I didn't write here antipasto, but come antipasto exists, of course. Come, and you put antipasto, primo, secondo, etc., etc. You don't have to repeat piatto, okay? It's just implicit. Come primo, come secondo, we already mean primo piatto, secondo piatto. E da bere, literally, and to drink, okay? And you say what you want to drink. E da bere, and you add what you want to drink. E da bere una bottiglia d'acqua, ok, bottle of water. And to drink a bottle of water. E da bere una bottiglia d'acqua. E da bere una birra bionda. And to drink a beer. E da bere un bicchiere di vino della casa. Ok? So, a glass of vino della casa, wine, or typical wine, okay, of the place. This is what you can order. Oh, there's an error here. You have ordered everything and you want to add something, I don't know, some vegetables or a salad, for example. You can say, potrei avere anche, may I have also, and you add what you want to have. Now, you get it, you eat it, and at the end of your meal, the waiter comes back to you and asks, andava tutto bene? Was it all right? Okay, do you like it? Andava tutto bene? Okay, was it all right? And then he asks you, normally, if you would like to have a dessert, or a coffee. The sentence is desidera. Again, it's always the same, formal to one person. Desiderate, formal, informal, many people. Desideri, informal for one person. Un dolce. Sometimes we say dolcetto, which means little dessert, basically, and it's very typical. Desidera un dolcetto? Okay, desiderate un dolcetto, just to say, okay, it's just a small treat, okay, it won't be too bad for your diet. Okay, this is the idea, okay, it's quite polite and it's cute, and a lot of people say that. So desidera or desiderate un dolce, desiderate un dolcetto, desiderate un dessert, or eventually desiderate un caffè, desidera un caffè. When we talk about caffè in Italy, we obviously talk about espresso, okay? So very short, very dark. If you want anything else, you have to specify it, okay? At the end, when you have had your dolcetto and you drank your coffee and sometimes liquor or something else, okay, to help digest your meal, you call the waiter again and you say, mi scusi, posso avere il conto per favore? Posso avere il conto per favore? Or if you're talking about the whole group or the couple, possiamo avere il conto per favore? May we have, or may I have the bill, please? This is something I want to say. It doesn't concern the language specifically, but it concerns the general behavior. Okay, because we know that habits may be different from a country to another. Usually, well, there are some countries like I don't know, Austria, for example, or Germany, America as well. You normally ask for the bill. Possiamo avere il conto, per favore? They take it to the table and you pay there. In Italy, most of the times, not always, but most of the times, especially in informal places, you just stand up and go where the cash register is and you pay there. Okay? Automatically, you're ready, you get up, put on your jacket, and you go you go to the counter or to the cash register, you pay and go away. This is quite typical in Italy. Sometimes you may ask for the bill when you are still sitting at the table. Normally you do that in ristoranti, which are very formal, when you want to be very polite and you don't want maybe that your lady knows okay, how much you're paying. Or eventually when there is a group of people and you have to share, and so you have to stay there and decide who pays what or whatever. So in these cases you may ask for the bill at the table. Most of the times it's just a very formal way to pay. But I can say that 90% of the times you just go there to the cash register and wait for the waiter or the owner to come there and prepare the bill, and you pay straight away. And normally we don't leave tips. That's what we do. So if you if you live in a country where you pay at the table and you see some Italian guests walking around and looking for the cash register, they are not lost, they are just trying to pay. And another thing is that in other countries, like in the UK, most of the times you just order at the counter. You go there and order. We don't do that. We always order at the table. These are just habits, so it's nothing bad if you do that differently, but it's just our way to do things. Anyway, you are paying, probably at the cash register, and you ask whether you can pay with a credit card, or we use it a lot in Italy, a debit card or cash card if you prefer the American translation. So, vorrei pagare, I would like to pay, or è possibile pagare, in this case it's a question, ok? Is it possible to pay? Con la carta di credito o con il bancomat? What does it mean? Allora, vorrei pagare, again, I would like to pay, or you ask if it is possible, è possibile pagare, is it possible to pay? Con la carta di credito, with a credit card, ok, carta di credito, the translation is almost the same, o con il bancomat. Con il bancomat. Bancomat is debit card or cash card. This is a tricky word in Italy because it means both cash card and the ATM, the proper machine, okay? So it means two things. It means the machine where you go and get your money, and so the ATM, and the card that you properly use to pay. It is called bancomat. Bancomat. Vorrei pagare con il bancomat, per favore. O è possibile pagare con la carta di credito? Posso pagare con la carta di credito? Vorrei pagare con la carta di credito. È possibile? And they answer yes or not. Usually it is. Contanti is the translation for cash, to pay cash. Obviously you don't ask for if you can pay in cash, but that's a good word to know, ok? Posso pagare con la carta di credito? Vorrei pagare con la carta di credito, per favore. È possibile pagare con il bancomat? No, mi dispiace, non è possibile. Ah, posso pagare con la carta di credito? No, mi dispiace, non è possibile. Ok, allora pago in contanti. Another question that you may be asked eventually if you are with other people, a group of people, or just if you're a couple. Pagate insieme o separatamente? Pagate insieme o separatamente? So do you pay literally, it's do you pay together or separately? That's the translation. So with separate bills, basically. There are many, especially pubs or bars, when you can find this script here. So you have to know what it means. Non si effettuano conti separati. I repeat. Non si effettuano conti separati. It is always the same. The sentence is it's the way we say that, and you will always find it written like that. It means that it isn't possible to pay with separate bills. Ok? Non si effettuano conti separati. You have to pay all together and then you divide. Then I wrote here a couple of other sentences which are useful and could be very important for your health, maybe, or your morals, depends. When you have to say, for example, that you're vegetarian or vegan. Sono vegetariano, I'm vegetarian. Obviously, if you are a woman, sono vegetariana. If you are in a group of vegetarian people, it's not sono, but siamo vegetariani. So remember that obviously you have to conjugate the verb to be, but okay, we already talked about the verb to be a lot. So if you have any doubts, go back to my previous lessons and you find the conjugation of the verb to be. And remember to change the vowel of the adjective depending on the fact you're a man or a woman. Same goes for vegan. Sono vegano if I am a man. Sono vegana if I am a woman. It's not vegan, it is vegano. Then about your health. Sono allergico al glutine. Sono allergico a. I'm allergic to. Okay? Again, allergico a man. If I am a woman, sono allergica. Sono allergica. Or intolerant. Sono intollerante a. In this case, you don't have to change the final vowel because it is e, so it is good for a man or a woman, for both of them. Sono intollerante al glutine. I am gluten intolerant. Or sono intollerante al lattosio. I am lactose intolerant. Okay? All of these terms are obviously quite easy to find in any dictionaries or translations online or whatever. But remember, sono intollerante a, sono allergico o allergica a. And talking about this, if you're lactose intolerant, for example, sono intollerante al lattosio, you may receive a dish or something and you have a doubt. Maybe you have already said that you're intolerant to the waiter, but you receive the dish and you have a doubt, or you're not sure. You want to make sure you don't have cheese or butter or anything inside. And you can ask again, questo piatto contiene... So this dish, okay, this food contains, I don't know, cheese, for example, formaggio. Questo piatto contiene formaggio? Or you make sure that it doesn't, asking, questo piatto non contiene formaggio, vero? Right? Ok? Questo piatto non contiene formaggio, vero? Questo piatto non contiene burro, butter. Questo piatto non contiene burro, vero? This may be very important for you and for your health. Right, and then you thank and go away. So, grazie mille, arrivederci, okay, see you soon, a presto. They may ask also when you're paying if everything was okay, andava tutto bene, again. There are many other ways to say that, but this is the most common one for you to recognize, obviously. And then you pay and you go away. All right, obviously this is a huge topic, okay? There are so many possible variations and possibilities, so it was quite difficult to concentrate in a lesson the most common situations and the most complete dialogue. There are obviously many other versions. We will have other videos like this if you like it, if you find it interesting. Okay, we have some grammar, we have some everyday language. It can be very useful for you. If you have any question, just ask away. And I want to thank all of you who decided to actually practically support my channel, leaving a small donation using PayPal. You know that on the home page of this channel there is this PayPal button that you can use, or you can also use the general email address of the channel to connect to PayPal, which is admayoratutor at gmail.com. You find it in the description below. I want to thank you, those of you who decided to do that. I really appreciate the gesture. I am so happy to work for you in this way. I do it for free, but your words, your comments, and even your your gestures like this help a lot, and really are a great motivation for me. And they really help also, I mean, for equipment, time and everything. So thank you so very much for doing that. And if you have found this video interesting, please give me a like. Subscribe the channel if you want watch more videos about Italian language, but we know that there are so many other playlists on this channel about English language, German and English literature, American literature, German literature, so there is a lot to discover. Thank you so very much for watching. Ci vediamo molto presto. Grazie per avermi seguito e di nuovo buono studio. Ciao!